Welcome Prince Institute, non-stop legal exercise 6, 7, 8, 9 or 10, Dr. GD Bist at the rate 120 words a minute. Ready? Start. This appeal was made at the instance of the contesting respondent in both the civil appeals who was really aggrieved of a clause in the prospectus issued by the appellants which according to her was not valid. According to the contesting respondent, she being a Canadian citizen is an NRI that therefore she was entitled to seek admission to the MBBS course in the NRI category quota, but yet the definition of NIR as specified in the prospectus issued by the Chandigarh administration and the Government Medical College Chandigarh for the academic year 2012-13 would denude her of such status and therefore it was liable to be struck down. The contesting respondent claimed that her grandfather retired as an under secretary in the year 1994, that when he was in the services of the state of Chandigarh, he resided in a government house from 1964 to 1983 and shifted to another government accommodation provided by the Chandigarh administration for 1983 to 1999. That third set of government accommodation was provided by the government to the father of the contesting respondent, which was occupied till December 2003, and that thereafter her father started living in the house of her grandfather in Mohali. The contesting respondent claimed that she passed as a regular student from Mohali, that the prescription contained in paragraph 2 of the prospectus providing for eligibility and merit for NRI seats for MBBS course stipulating that the grandparents or parents of the candidate should be resident of Chandigarh for a minimum period of 5 years at any time since the origin of Chandigarh and should have immovable property in her name in Chandigarh for the last at least 5 years and a certificate to that effect issued by NDC cum estate officer or municipal corporation of Chandigarh. It was on that footing that a challenge came to be made by the contesting respondent in the High Court in CWP number 1423 of 2011. The learned single judge by the order held that the impugned clause was totally impracticable, illegal, illogical, and declared as such. However, the learned single judge went further into the question as to whether the contesting respondent can be granted admission. Next, exercise number 7. The special leave petition has been filed against the judgment and order dated 24th April 2008, passed in writ petition number 28 of 2006 by the High Court of Andhra Pradesh, by which the writ petition against the order of dismissal of the petitioner's application and successive appeals under the Right to Information Act 2005 has been dismissed. In the said petition, the direction was sought by the petitioner to the respondent number 1 to provide information as asked by him via his application dated 15th November 2004 from the respondent number 4, a judicial officer, as for what reasons the respondent number 4 had decided his miscellaneous appeal dishonestly. The fact and circumstances giving rise to this case are that the petitioner claimed to be in exclusive possession of the land in respect of which civil suit number 810 of 2000 was filed before additional civil judge Ranga district, praying for perpetual injunction by Dr. Rao against the petitioner and another from entering into the suit land. Application filed for interim relief in the said suit stood dismissed. Being agreed, the plaintiff therein preferred CMA number 180 of 2000 and the same was also dismissed. Two other suits were filed in respect of the same property, impleading the petitioner also as the defendant. In one of the suit, that is OS number 875 of 2003, the trial court granted temporary injunction against the petitioner. Being agreed, petitioner preferred the CMA number 64 of 2003, which was dismissed by the appellate court. Respondent number 4, wide order dated 10th August 2004. Petitioner filed an application dated 15 November 2004 under section 6 of the RTI Act before the administrative officer cum assistant state public information officer respondent number 1, seeking information to the queries mentioned therein. The said application was rejected. Wide order dated 23rd November 2004 and an appeal against the said order was also dismissed. Wide order dated 20th January 2005. Second appeal against the said order was also dismissed by the Andhra Pradesh State Information Commission. Wide order. The petitioner challenged the said order before the High Court, seeking a direction to the respondent number 1 to furnish the required information immediately. Exercise number 8. The appellate was convicted by the trial court under section 306 IPC on the allegation that his farm labor deceased committed suicide because of the harassment meted out to him by the appellant. The prosecution case was that the appellant 2 days prior to the incident leveled an allegation of theft of ornaments against the deceased, that the appellant had also demanded from the deceased rupees 7,000, which was given to him as advance at the time when he was kept in employment. The conviction was affirmed by the High Court. In the instant appeal filed by the accused, it was contended for the appellant that the conviction of the appellant was unsustainable as no ingredients of offense punishable under section 301 IPC were made out. Abatement involved a mental process of instigating a person or intentionally aiding a person in doing of a thing without a positive act on the part of the accused to instigate or aid in committing suicide. Conviction cannot be sustained. The intention of the legislature and the ratio of the cases decided by this court is clear that in order to convict a person under section 306 IPC, there has to be a clear means rea to commit the offense. It also requires an active act or direct act which led the deceased to commit suicide, seeing no option, and this act must have been intended to push the deceased into such a position that he committed suicide. In the instant case, the deceased was undoubtedly hypersensitive to ordinary petulance, discord, and differences which happen in day-to-day life. Human sensitivity of each individual differs from the other. Different people behave differently in the same situation. In the light of the provisions of law and the settled legal positions crystallized by the series of judgment of this court, the conviction of the appellant cannot be sustained. The word suicide in itself is nowhere defined in the Indian Penal Code. However, its meaning and import is well known and requires no explanation. Sui means self and side means killing, thus implying an act of self-killing. In short, a person committing suicide must commit it by himself irrespective of the means employed by him in achieving his object of killing himself. Suicide by itself is not an offense under either English law or Indian criminal law. Stop. Next, exercise number 9. Start. SSC is supplier of electricity at notified tariff rate. The sale price included advance against depreciation bracket AAD, which is shown by SSC as sales in its profit and loss account. While computing the book profit, SSC deducted in AAD component from total sale price and took only balance amount into the profit and loss account. According to the authority for advance rulings, reduction of AAD from the sales was reserved, which had to be added back on the basis of clause B of explanation 1 to section 115 JB of the Income Tax Act 1961. On reading, it is clear that to make an addition under clause B, the two conditions which must be jointly satisfied are that there must be a debit of the amount to the profit and loss account, and the amount so debited must be carried to the reserve. Since the amount of AAD is reduced from sales, there is no debit in the profit and loss account. The amount did not enter the stream of income for the purposes of determination of net profit at all. Hence, clause B of explanation 1 was not applicable. There are broadly two types of reserves: those that are routed through profit and loss account. For example, a capital reserve such as share premium account. AAD is not a reserve. It is not appropriation of profit. It is an amount that is under obligation right from the inception to get adjusted in the future, hence cannot be designated as a reserve. It is nothing but an adjustment by reducing the normal depreciation includable in the future years in such a manner that at the end of useful life of the plant bracket, which is normally 30 years bracket close, the same would be reduced to nil. At the end of the life of the plant, AAD will be reduced to nil. Keeping in view the facts, the total profit and loss account will be different from the above. In fact, Schedule 12A to the balance sheet for the financial year 2004-5 onwards indicated recouping AAD income received in advance. It is a timing difference and represents adjustment in future which is built in the mechanism notified by the Income Tax Department. Stop. Next, exercise number 10. Legal Sir GD Best. Start. The respondent, who was employed as a teacher under the government of Haryana, claimed advance increments in terms of Punjab government memo dated 1st September 1960. The Director of Secondary Education, Haryana, rejected the claim on the premise that in terms of Rule 10 of the Punjab Education Service Class 3rd bracket school cadre, Rules 195, the pay scales of the teachers were subject to variation from time to time, and since the state of Haryana revised the pay scales of various categories of teachers, whether effect from 1st December 1967, memo dated 1st September 1960 stood suppressed. He also observed that a higher start of pay with advance increments for postgraduate qualification was provided only to masters and mistresses and not to other categories of teachers. The High Court allowed the writ petitions and directed that the respondent be given advance increments in terms of the Punjab government memo and the letter of the government of Haryana. Aggrieved, the state of Haryana filed the appeal. The teachers employed under the government of Haryana could claim benefit of the higher pay scales, advance increments, etc. in terms of the policy decision taken by the government of undivided Punjab and instructions issued by it only till the revision of their pay scales, which were made effective from 1st December 1967 and not thereafter. The question of revision of pay scales of the teachers employed under the Government of Haryana was considered by the Education Commission, which is also known as Kothari Commission. The recommendations made by the Commission were accepted by the President of India and were implemented by the state government with effect from 1st September 1967. After revision of the pay scales of various categories of teachers, the Government of Haryana issued instructions for grant of monetary benefits in the form of personal pay to those government servants who improve their qualifications by undertaking further studies within the country and abroad. Further, by letter, all the existing instructions were superseded and fresh instructions were issued on the subject. However, the decisions contained in letter and other related communications were withdrawn by the state government by their letter. The High Court erred in accepting the plea of the respondents that revision of the pay scales of teachers with the retrospective date till not result in automatic supersession of the existing policy decisions. Stop.